It is December 3rd, 2021, and the conspiracy against Sami Zayn continues. This is the Wrestling Inc. podcast. I'm Glenn Rubenstein, joined by Alfred Konuwa and NYC Demon Diva Issa, here tonight to talk about SmackDown and Rampage. Rampage pre-taped tonight, so a little anticlimactic in some regards. SmackDown, Brock Friday. That's branding.
Oh, so good.
And the build begins to the day one pay-per-view happening January 1st in Atlanta on Peacock for WWE. We have some things to talk about tonight. I guess before we dive into everything, Alfred, what's going on in the news?
Plenty going on in the news. Let's start with AEW Dynamite. The viewership is out, of course, a little delayed, but 861,000 viewers on TNT. Very shocking number considering their Thanksgiving, or at least the day before Thanksgiving episode did 898,000, which was to be expected going under 900,000. But then conventional wisdom says they're going to rebound now that there's no Thanksgiving holiday to screw up their audience. And they did even worse. This is one of actually the worst numbers they've done of the year, worst numbers since May. So AEW Dynamite in a bit of a funk. I'm sure they're going to pull out of that when they have Winter is Coming, which should be a big show with the AEW Championship on the line. But what do you make of these numbers, Issa?
A man burned his back for 800,000 viewers. I mean, I don't know what to make of it. If you go and look at their YouTube numbers right now, they seem to be growing. So I have a feeling that maybe people are starting to just look for what they need to look for on YouTube and not really watch the show. They are going after a demographic that right now is more interested in spending time with family, partying. You know, there's company parties, as opposed to, you know, that maybe younger or older demographic that tends to just be home.
Man, how boring does wrestling have to be if you prefer spending time with your family?
I have a great family.
No, I know. It's just.
I do too, but I get the point, man. After a couple of days, it's like you're looking for something to do.
No, I don't know. I mean, it's interesting, right? I think we're just in a lull right now. I mean, and I think it's bigger than wrestling. I mean, I just feel like the world is just sort of, right? I mean, just fatigue is the only way I could describe it. I mean, Black Friday was down this year. We're in a weird, uncertain time. I mean, I don't know. I feel like just everybody is just sort of not given up, but just sort of settled in, and routine does not matter as much as it used to.
Are you blaming this on Omicron?
Just where we're at in the world, you know? I mean, I don't know. Omicron, I think, is indicative of this, but it's just like it never ends, right? Like here we go into the holiday season, and it just never ends.
I was also going to say, isn't December a very known time to just be at not the best times in wrestling? Like, you know, if they know the holidays are coming, they know people are not watching. I don't feel like they try as hard. I mean, yeah, AEW does have Winter is Coming, but I don't think anybody's going to tune in into the actual show.
I think where we're at in the universe right now, unless you're unifying 3 Spider-Men from 3 different universes, nobody gives a shit.
I can't. Spider-Man showed up on our podcast the other day.
Everywhere.
That's the kind of family that I have. So that should tell you why I will pick spending time with my family. Because they randomly dress up as Spider-Man in the middle of the night. So
yeah, love that trailer, by the way.
It was good.
So good.
Are you guys both watching Hawkeye?
I started it, but I haven't. I only watched like half of the first episode.
I don't want to get too excited, but they might have epically teased something on this week's episode at the very beginning of this week's episode of episode 3, and it could, if it pans out, it's going to be awesome. But no, I think it's just a weird time right now, and I think with AEW also, I mean, so let's look at this in the bigger picture. Like we're past now the afterglow of Adam Cole, CM Punk, and Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson. It's been a bit. Tony Nese isn't getting people jazzed up. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like
but he's
Bobby
an island
Fish.
Boy.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying, though? It's like you do these big things, and then it's just kind of like, okay, well, what do you got for me? You have to up that. You have to up the game, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, this lineup as a whole on Rampage wasn't really getting people jazzed up. I don't think it really had the star power or the urgency to watch this.
Yeah, there was no jazz. What else is going on in the news?
I'm sorry, Issa, do you have something else before we get to the next story?
No. I was just going to say, I feel like AEW is booking strong storylines. So I thought Wednesday they went in with a loaded show. You know, you have Bryan, you have CM Punk and MJF after that amazing segment. I thought people would want to tune in to see how they will follow it up. since that segment was viewed so many times online. So I was a little shocked by the number.
Yeah, and I think Winter is Coming is going to do a really good number. I think that's destination programming with how they've built it. So maybe people are just waiting to galvanize for that show. But
maybe they should rename it Windham is Coming.
Hey, maybe they should. Maybe they should. We have another story that's kind of groundbreaking in the land of WWE, in that WWE has announced a new NIL program. Now, NIL stands for name, image, likeness. When it comes to college sports, it's a way for college athletes to get paid, thank God. But NIL and WWE, they're using that to stand for next in line in terms of them recruiting college athletes. Of course, Gable Steveson, great wrestler, Olympic gold medalist, was the first wrestler signed, or first athlete signed to W's first NCAA NIL deal at the University of Minnesota. And so now this is going to be the blueprint moving forward. You see, WWE axed its entire developmental system. They cut 85 people. They want younger, they want big guys, and they want athletes that they can teach from scratch. So this is going to be the bedrock of that in WWE, recruiting these college athletes and paying them on a scale based on what they think that they can be in the wrestling business. So NIL deal. What do you think about this sea change in wrestling, Glenn?
I mean, if I'm a guy that's been grinding it out in the indies and, I finally made it to NXT, I think the writing's on the wall, at this point, in terms of what they're looking for, who they want to develop. It's just a weird time. I mean, I like NXT 2.0. We've discussed its flaws, though, at length. And, I mean, it could be cool if they do something that's a little more athletically oriented, to treat it more like an actual sport. But I think that also runs counter to what's working for WWE, which is having larger than life characters. So I don't know. Issa?
I think some of these athletes have the it factor, and then teaching them the ropes is probably easier. If you take a look at WWE and some of the indie darlings that they did hire and bring into NXT, they're currently in AEW. So maybe they're trying to go in a different direction here and find somebody that they can kind of like make it homegrown for them.
Find a little loyalty in this world. I like that. But no, that's a good point.
They ain't loyal.
I think people, I've seen a lot of people kind of worried that, there's going to be no more indie people in WWE. And that might be the rule of thumb in terms of we're not going to see as many. But I don't think there's that much of a problem with recruiting athletes and making them into wrestlers. I think people overrate how much you have to know about wrestling. It definitely helps you in WWE to have that background and know about wrestling. Definitely helps. But we've seen plenty examples of athletes go in there and become big stars. I mean, Brock Lesnar essentially signed an NIL deal. I mean, it's not what it was called at the time, but he was pretty much fresh out of college. They paid him, and they thought he was going to be a big star, and he was. Goldberg was not a wrestling fan growing up. Sting was not a wrestling fan growing up. Ultimate Warrior. Bianca Belair did not watch wrestling growing up. She was an athlete, a super athlete who was recruited to be a wrestler. So this can absolutely work. And we'll see how long this lasts and how effective it is. But like Glenn said, the larger-than-life characters in what they do and telling their stories is going to really be what affects whether or not this is going to work, I think.
It's really weird, though, because you think about what resonates with the fan. Is it, just, top ranked in the nation in college and went to the Olympics. People I think gloss over that, but you go, Bayley wrote an essay when she was 9 years old that she wanted to be a WWE superstar. And I think everyone just pops for that because everyone gets that and understands that.
Yeah, and you can have both. Two things can be true. You're going to have people. There's going to be people who love wrestling growing up, and there's going to be people on the other side of that spectrum, like the Kurt Angles of the world, who become all-time greats because they're tremendous athletes and do have that personality. And if you watch college and pro football, I mean, it's a lot of athletes when you see their touchdown celebrations or them celebrating in soccer or basketball who do wrestling celebrations, so they clearly watch wrestling and are familiar with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they got to shake something up in WWE. I don't know if this is it. I don't know if this is what's going to turn it around. I feel like NXT 2.0, I was thinking about this after we talked about it last night. NXT 2.0 started so hot, and they've kind of pumped the brakes on giving us more larger-than-life, big characters, big moment surprises. Think about the Index wedding. You know what I mean? Like, that first episode of 2.0 was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
If they'd all been like that since, I think, ratings would be up on Tuesday.
Well, to your point, in NXT 2.0, in terms of it kind of falling apart, Beth Phoenix announced her departure. Very heartbreaking news. This
man.
after Scotty 2 Hottie left, and there's a little bit of a whisper around NXT 2.0 in that, kind of like how you hinted, Glenn, in that people don't really have the same feelings about NXT as it goes through this transitional period in terms of it being this hot commodity that it was in its glory days under the black and gold era. So now you're seeing Beth Phoenix leaving and, hearing reports that there might be more in terms of people not getting axed, but more or less voluntarily leaving NXT 2.0. What do you think about this, Isa?
I'm so sad about it. Like, not only is she anti-Beth, and I just love her so much on commentary. The NXT commentary team as a whole, I think, complement each other perfectly.
Very good.
It's one of those, you listen to NXT, and I don't think, out of all of the conversations that the three of us have had at depth, I don't know that we've ever complained about commentary in NXT. So it feels like now, where are we going to go from here? Because the one thing that probably was put together in NXT now is going to be missing a big chunk of it. Whatever it is that she does next, I know a lot of people are speculating. I'm one of the people that saw the Miz and Maurice come back and automatically thought, bring Beth Phoenix in and have a match between them. Whether she wrestles, goes home to be a mom, now she's making music, whatever she wants to do, let her do it. But I'm going to miss her in NXT a lot.
Yeah, she's been so good on commentary. And I don't like that NXT is changing so much. It's not in the right direction. Again, that 2.0 first episode was amazing. And since then, I feel like they've just stumbled a bit. So we'll see. Maybe War Games will turn some stuff around. Maybe in the new year, we'll get a new direction. But I don't know. I mean, Triple H's presence is definitely missed. William Regal's presence is missed. It's just a weird time right now.
Yeah, what I loved about Beth Phoenix, her and Pat McAfee are the only two commentators in WWE that I feel like when they're commentating, they're watching this for the first time, just like I am, and they're reacting to it in real time, and it's not programmed, and it's not something that they're supposed to say. And that authenticity is what I loved about Beth Phoenix and Pat McAfee, but, especially Beth Phoenix in terms of how she would go with the flow with NXT. I thought she was great, and I thought she played off of Wade Barrett very well.
Now, the one positive thing could be, I'm pretty sure WWE has forgotten that 205 Live is still on the air. So maybe if they leave NXT alone, it can get great again.
Possibly. That could happen.
Do you think, what was the speculation this week about the Cruiserweight division? And that this Joe Gacy...
they're going to get rid of the Cruiserweight title and turn it into something else, like an open weight title or something like that. People were speculating that since they're defending that title at War Games with Joe Gacy, who's definitely not a Cruiserweight.
I could see them. I mean, they don't have to make this a permanent thing. They could to see how it takes. I mean, I don't know if Joe Gacy's the guy you want to do this with, but for the length of his reign, it could be an open weight title, and that could be his gimmick. But if you do that, you're kind of blowing off the top of this title. And I do think that even if you go back to it being Cruiserweight, you've really killed this belt.
And if they're doing that, why didn't Vince take the opportunity to put the Cruiserweight title on Otis and just really delight himself on a weekly basis?
Why Otis? Why stop there? Put it on Omos. Let Omos be the Cruiserweight champion.
No, Vince would find Otis funnier as the Cruiserweight champion. There's a Vince humor. Remember, pushing somebody in the pool fully clothed is the funniest thing on earth.
Yeah. Get some weigh-ins. That could be fun.
Yes.
Our final news story, speaking of Vince McMahon, let's talk about his checkbook and what he's paying his athletes. A report from the Wrestling Observer newsletter came out of what some top stars are making. It is estimated that Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns are making in the $5 million range. A lot of top guys are making the $2 million range. It was said some are making $3 million, and then there's an unnamed top athlete making $4 million. So it looks like if you're a top guy in WWE, if you're signing one of these NIL deals and you get paid, what you aspire to is anywhere from $2 to $5 million. This from a company that is on pace to make near or maybe surpass $1 billion in 2021, Glenn.
I mean, this is a very, very small handful. Like Angel and Umberto are not making that kind of money. Sheamus probably not making that kind of money. Rick Boog's worth that much money. Rick Boog's worth every penny of that money, not making that much money. I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird time right now.
Is Cameron Grimes making that much money?
He should be.
He's making I think he's making more. I think he's making hundreds of millions of dollars after that Dogecoin.
Yes, it's true. What's up with I own very little crypto, but I keep getting alerts lately, and it seems like crypto is not going well.
Yeah, I don't. It goes up and down, but with Dogecoin at least, it's not doing as well as it used to.
It's all very weird. WWE though keeps making money despite themselves. Strange time. It's very strange. But I don't know. I've seen the speculation online. I mean, the top talent's the top talent. They're worth it. But at the same time, you have to wonder what that pay discrepancy is between like NXT entry level, main roster entry level, and then at the other end of the spectrum, Roman and Brock,
Right. Yeah, definitely.
And that's I agree. We had to see. And not even that, taxes, plus they have to cover their own traveling expenses, health insurance. So who knows what they end up seeing even.
2 to 5 million should be like mid-card. All those names you mentioned should be making at least $2 to $5 million, just based on the pay structure. And if you look at sports, usually half of the pot goes to the athletes and half goes to the owners. And WWE is pretty much taking like 90% of the pot, if more.
And if Succession taught us anything, at $5 million, you were the poorest rich person.
Yeah, you are.
So how can they possibly get by? Brock lives on a farm out of necessity. He can't afford to buy food. He has to grow his own.
He kills it and eats it, like you said tonight.
Yes. That was good tonight. SmackDown was good tonight.
I like parts of it. I liked more than I didn't like, actually. Yeah, it was pretty good.
Same.
Well, Brock, Sami, and Roman.
Yeah. Brock and Sami have the greatest chemistry.
Should we talk about SmackDown first? I feel folks, warning, Rampage is going to be kind of a bit of an afterthought tonight because there's not that much to dive into.
Yeah, let's start with SmackDown. Let's start with
SmackDown, though. Man, open up Brock Lesnar and Sami Zayn in the ring together.
Two Canadian boys.
I know your feelings. I know your feelings about Roman Reigns, but you can't tell me watching this that you didn't
know my feelings about Brock Lesnar? Have we not met? Because that's my other favorite.
But Brock and Sami, you can't tell me you weren't thinking, maybe it wouldn't be so bad if Sami had the title and he was facing Brock at day one. They had a nice lengthy feud.
I never thought that, not once. You did, because I know how much you love Sami.
Love Sami Zayn.
I thought it for 5 seconds. I thought it.
Did I think that I wanted to see more segments between them? Yes, but I loved Brock in this opening segment. I love all of the his character. When Brock wants to, he is just so freaking good. The chemistry between him and Sami was so surprisingly, unexpectedly good. Oh my god! And the way that he was acting so friendly, talking him into it, but then he's also bullying him into saying, "No, you're gonna do this match tonight." I thought this opening was perfect. And for those of you who want Paul back with Brock, no, I love this Brock. Let him be on his own for a little bit longer if this is what he's going to give us, because this was a whole different Brock than what we're used to seeing, and it felt refreshing. It felt like a new Brock Lesnar. It was amazing. I really, really enjoyed the opening of SmackDown tonight. Sami Zayn too, Glenn, just for you. I thought Sami Zayn was just... It was just perfect, and I never expected the two. I thought Sami Zayn was gonna come out and get destroyed, and it ended up happening. But later on, I wasn't expecting it to go that way. Even when he said, "I'll be in your corner," I thought he was gonna help him win, or pull something off, not destroy him.
That's a good point.
I loved Brock talking about they're both Canadian. Sami saying, I'm going to give you a title shot after I win tonight. You're going to get the title shot at day one.
This was reminiscent of The Rock and the Hurricane, where it was a completely random pairing that you never even thought about. And The Rock is now kind of playing a different, he's not the babyface Rock doing the catchphrases. He's now playing comedy more or less with the Hurricane, and it worked fantastically. And I felt that way watching these two, and that you'd never expect to see Brock and Sami Zayn in this kind of program or a segment or anything, but them going back and forth, I thought was perfect. And I did like Brock as a kind of more funny, fun-loving guy who wasn't doing it too much. He was still a bully and he was still being a tough guy, but I thought he balanced it perfectly without being a cartoon. I thought this whole thing with these two are great.
You know what I loved the most, because I would expect that from Brock, is to not know who Sami Zayn is. When he was like, "Who are you? Are you a fan of mine?" And when he was gonna say his name, he was like, "What is it again?" I was like, "Yes, I don't expect Brock Lesnar to know who the hell Sami Zayn is." It was just perfect, and that's the thing. When they want to be good, they can pull something very good, which sometimes makes it so frustrating when you're sitting there watching a show that's just not worth watching. It's like you can do great things. Why don't you try a little harder sometimes?
And Brock convincing Sammy, take that title shot tonight.
Convincing.
I'll have your back. Go get him, kid. This
Poor
was so
Sammy.
good. I mean, like, honestly, like this, and again, we talked about this. The problem, you can't start the show this hot and keep it up this hot.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, this was such a good, this was probably one of my favorite openings to SmackDown in recent memory.
Wow.
Very, very good. Well, because it was unexpected. I mean, again, no offense, Issa cover years, no offense to Roman Reigns. We've seen Roman open.
No, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. Roman Reigns coming out saying, I'm going to smash everyone. It's been the same opening for, 400 and something days? He's had this title reign, which is okay. But it makes it, when they do something like this, it just feels refreshing, you know? And like I said, just seeing a whole new side of Brock that we're not used to seeing, it was just great. He didn't come out there, he didn't have Paul Heyman. We still haven't seen that interaction between him and Paul, so we still don't know, you know, where Paul Heyman stands. Like I think they're playing this off great for a feud that we've seen so many times, Brock and Roman. It still feels new every time they manage to throw something in there that makes it feel new. So I give them credit for this.
And I have to give credit to Brock Lesnar because for years he has been, while he is definitely an attraction, right? An amazing athlete, an amazing physical specimen, destroys people in the ring.
Once in a lifetime athlete.
But for years, that's all we saw. He came out, Suplex City, bam, Brock wins, done. When he shows shades like him dancing with the Money in the Bank briefcase, Heath Slater, I don't give an F about your kids. When he does things like this tonight, Brock, there are layers to the onion that is Brock Lesnar that it makes me wonder, like, has anything ever come out where it's like, Brock's favorite thing is like just, like sipping a Diet Coke and watching Teen Titans Go, like this guy's got like weird hidden depths and I'm fascinated by them.
Did you read his book?
I did not read his book. Does it delve into some unexpected Brock facts?
Yeah, and it's pretty good. And he wrote it back when he was still kind of angry at WWE. So there's some tea in it. It's a very, very good book. And you just read it. And it's funny. You can tell that he just sat there and it goes out there, just type whatever he was saying because he sounds very, very Brock Lesnar.
Very interesting. But this was great tonight. And that's the thing. It's like Brock and Roman. Yeah, Paul, I get it. But man, I wouldn't mind if we took a nice little 6-week detour and do a good Brock Sammy feud, Brock Sammy tag team.
Oh, I think at the very least, Sami Zayn should be involved in this feud throughout until day one. We still got a lot of time until day one, and I would like to see, he doesn't have to be like a focal point, but I would like to see more of Sami Zayn interacting with this. Because if I'm Sami Zayn, based on what's happened to me, like, I'm definitely getting involved in raising some hell in terms of not getting your rightful world title shot.
Oh, wait, you think he's still alive?
Assuming he is, yeah. I haven't read the APB yet, but assuming he's still alive.
Here's the craziest shit about Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn is probably one of the top 5, if not top 10 professional wrestlers of his generation.
Sure.
And what do they have him doing now? Basically comedy bits where it's really funny when he gets the crap kicked out of him. Like, that's just shtick.
Yeah.
But he's doing well.
Yeah,
he's doing well at it. He's very good at, which is kind of dooms you in comedy, but I know he is.
I wonder if he's staying or going. He's got a while though, right? Left still.
No, he's up the same time I believe Kevin Owens is. I think it's up this year or like January.
I think but wasn't he out? Once then KO because of probably the time that they add because he was. Remember when the pandemic happened, he took all those months off.
Well, and that would have been the last contract, his injury from the Cena match. But
I would assume that the months that he couldn't travel or didn't want to travel will be added on because that's what they do.
Very interesting.
If he goes to AEW, we never see the documentary, so I'm kind of pulling from this day.
Or maybe we actually do see it.
Yeah,
he hired his own camera crew. Remember, this might not belong to WWE.
Okay, you might need to hire a lawyer too if he does that.
This is the weirdest thing to say. Sami Zayn, you go to AEW, yes, you might get to have some great wrestling matches with your friends and some of the world's top talent. You will not get anywhere near the TV time that WWE is giving you because Vince thinks it's really funny to see you run your mouth and get the shit kicked out of you.
Yeah, good point.
So you could be a wrestler or you could be a goddamn superstar. The choice is yours, buddy.
Wow.
Choose wisely, Sammy.
Damn, I feel like he's in the Matrix right now. Like, it's not that deep, you guys. Come on.
But that's the thing. You got to look at AEW and just think like, it's a little crowded in there.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not going to get the spotlight, But Sammy's getting the spotlight consistently. So we had this followed up with a very good match between Sasha Banks beating Shayna Baszler. Issa, what did you think of this?
I thought it was great. Sasha Banks did a hell of a job selling that knee in the corner. OMG. I was like, this is gold. I don't even know if the knee connected, where it connected, but the way that she sold it, I thought she was dead. Between her and Sammy selling these suplexes at the end of the night, I was like, these two are such stars. But yeah, I thought this was good. And is Sasha Banks a baby face now?
Yeah, technically.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, so Sasha Banks the face, which I will see where it goes, but overall fun and just still the only thing I can think about when we talk about this match is the selling of that knee, because Sasha is just so good at. She does it a lot. She looks like she's dead, hurt, injured. Like the way that she sells is like nobody's business. So good.
Yeah, Sasha's like a great. I mean, she's like Fonzie. She's like Han Solo. I mean, they cheer her like she's a face, but she's not. There's nothing dorky about her. Like, I think she's inherently cool. This was a really good match tonight. And interesting when talking about Shayna, they were talking about some future endeavored talent tonight.
Yeah, they called it the future endeavored kick. And this is kind of weird. So they're still continuing to bring this stuff up. But I will say it's a little random to have her there against Shayna Baszler. I did like the match. I completely agree with Sasha. Her selling was incredible in this match in terms of her just kind of laying out and selling her ribs, even after she won. So she did a great job. I had no problem with this match. It was just like, you're showing this video package of Shayna Baszler, it sucks that these women were fired, but she now gets the benefit of she kicked them out of WWE by breaking their arms. Look at this badass. We're going to feed her to Sasha Banks. Like, it could have been anybody else. Like, why does Shayna Baszler have to lose out of nowhere to Sasha Banks with no story? Like, that video package should have been the beginning of her being built up as a monster to where now anytime she goes for that kick.
Remember, Sasha kind of teamed up with Naomi. So Shayna was the person that Sonya was using to kind of like fight her battle. So they were connecting it to that storyline, even though they're going away from Sasha and Naomi being a thing. So there was a little bit of backstory, not enough for them to do this amazing video package for Shayna Baszler just to have her lose. But seeing Shayna lose to Sasha Banks is not gonna upset me as much as what we were seeing her do in the past, but I would think Shayna Baszler straight out of NXT, this would have been a dream match that could have main evented a pay-per-view for me. And just to see it thrown in the middle of a SmackDown now, losing like that. But I mean, you can still rebuild Shayna. It's just not like this.
Itzy with a $5 super chat saying, after Brock, Roman, and Roman Rock, the Friday after Mania, we start the Bloodline versus Imperium. Walter is the only legit contender left to dethrone Roman, in my opinion.
We could just go straight to Walter and Roman. I think that would be fine. Or, Walter and Brock would be a lot of fun, too. That'd be great.
Oh, that would be really, really good. Yeah.
Walter versus
Imperium. Yeah. Imperium will get destroyed by the Usos.
Yeah. Let me ask the question. Issa, to you first. Has Vince McMahon ever watched an episode from start to finish of NXT UK?
The answer is Vince McMahon doesn't know that he has a company called NXT UK. No.
Alfred? Do you think he watched it, but he was on his phone the entire time?
Yeah, possibly. I don't think from start to finish at all. I think maybe he's seen stuff here and there. Maybe somebody said, maybe it's like one of these buzzworthy matches like Walter and Dragunov. Maybe he's seen that, but I highly doubt he's seen it from start to finish.
I think one of his ghostwriters on his Twitter didn't they tweet out like, "Oh, great match, guys," or something on like the first UK takeover.
Yeah, I guess they were chanting like, "Are you watching, Vince?" They had this chant like, "Are you watching?" And he's like, "Yes, I'm watching all the time." It's like, no, you're not.
Here's what I aspire to do when I retire or semi-retire. I want to be the guy that ghostwrites the tweets for the celebrity that makes them seem self-aware and like a little self-deprecating and really cool. I want to be that person.
Oh, that'd be a lot of fun.
Yes.
All right. Well, if you're going to be Vince McMahon's Twitter ghostwriter, how would you write Shane McMahon's birthday tweet? Will you just say happy birthday, Shane, or will you say I'm so proud to be your father? Just to make Shane feel important, even though he knows that's not his dad tweeting.
And just be like, of all my children, Shane, you're one of my favorites.
You're in the top 2.
3 if we count Triple H.
Oh, hey, what about John Cena?
Oh, it's true.
Well, no, what about Hornswoggle? Come on now.
Oh, God. Wow. Okay, so he's top 5.
Definitely. I think Shane is definitely in the top 5 McMahon children.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know, because they have grandkids now, so maybe top 10.
I don't have time to do this, so I'm putting it out in the universe. I said over Christmas I'm going to do this. Told my wife I want to go through and find McMahon family footage and recut the opening credits to Succession with the McMahons.
Yes.
But I'm like, it's going to take, it's not the editing that's going to take time. It's going to be finding all that footage. That's going to take time. Like maybe I'll hire someone off Reddit or Fiverr. Maybe like that'll be my Christmas gift to myself. Yeah. I'll be like, go through and get me all the footage and I'll cut this to the Succession credits.
That's amazing. Here I am wanting to buy myself shoes or a purse, but not you. You are special, Glenn.
Did you watch Succession this past Sunday?
I did, yes. No.
We were denied Tiny Wu-Tang.
Yeah, I was looking forward to that. They never paid it off.
I know. So disappointing. So disappointing. Okay, so Sasha won the match. She looked good. Adam Pearce going to be there tonight, so he's backstage on FaceTime, making moves, making everything happen. Drew McIntyre came in, and getting into it with Pearce, and who knows? Oh, but then Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss, everybody, the superstars of SmackDown.
And this is where we go into the parts I didn't like about SmackDown.
This was really like, honestly, this is when I picked up my phone and I was just like, when does the next episode of Yellow Jackets go online? Are there any spoilers online for that? Like, I mean, I was just like, Madcap Mouse comes on, I tune out, man.
You know? We need to make Baron Corbin broke again.
Yeah, he was so good when he was broke.
Yeah, he needs to be broke again. Like, this isn't working for me. I don't like him with this guy. I it's just not doing anything for me.
His character was so good. And it's not Baron Corbin. I have always had a soft spot for Baron Corbin. I've always appreciated his heel work. I think he's had a phenomenal momentum of range. And with Moss, he's talented. I know he's been in the system for a long time, but just this character is like nails on a chalkboard to me.
Yeah. Madcap. Who says madcap? And it's such an old word, and it's just, I mean, I know they're going for it to be cringe so that people can't like it, but it's not good enough to where he's connecting with people doing it. I just think it's very much like, oh, that's interesting. Why don't we move on from this? And I'm just watching Drew McIntyre and Jeff Hardy now feuding with them, and it's like, between them, who do you think's more overqualified to be in a feud like this?
But they stormed the ring,
Jeff Hardy.
And they were wearing the hats after. At the end of the segment, they were wearing their hats.
Yeah.
Good for them.
It's like what we talked about with Joe Gacy the other night. I think that to write cringe comedy, you actually have to be funny to write something funny that works in a cringe way. You can't just be lame and have it be like, oh, well, it's supposed to be awkward. That's not an excuse.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's hard for that to play out in front of a live crowd in pro wrestling environment. That's why I think a lot of times the vignettes are pretty good, especially with NXT, because you get to tape it and you have more control of the environment. But trying to do this in front of a live crowd, you really have to be on it. And a lot of times they're not.
Yeah. I don't know. It's unfortunate. I mean, I'm sure, I think Moss has a lot of talent. It's just, this is a terrible thing.
He steals all of Baron Corbin's money. Something has to happen here.
Yeah. We never got, Issa, your scenario where Baron Corbin starts robbing his fellow superstars to get his fortune back.
I mean, that's what needed to happen. And just to respond to the chat, I did like Corbin's outfit. I'm not going to lie. That was the only thing I liked about this segment, Corbin's outfit.
He's a snappy dresser. So, Hardy and Drew beat him up, took their hats. And that's how we ended this segment.
But wait. Baron Corbin was second best dressed tonight after Brock Lesnar.
There you go. Zia Lee next week. Another vignette.
I like these.
They're good.
Different. Comic book type, and they're actually trying. They're putting together a story for her, the Protector. I have no problem with these.
Yeah. Doesn't scare you? doesn't scare you?
That like
they're trying and all that, but I don't know.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Maybe I just have like issues because of all the releases and everything going on, and how they did Hit Row is almost like, and we just heard on the news today, Elias had all these video packages made and they had no plans for him whatsoever. They were just making them to make them. So I mean, at least they announced that she will be there. I also seen them do that, and they don't pay off. So I mean, we'll see what happens. The video packages themselves are very good. Do I trust that they're gonna have a good storyline, like Carmella being the landlord's daughter? I don't know.
Yeah.
Deep cut. It's a callback to a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
But isn't it weird? The creative puts all this effort into these vignettes and these promos, and then I swear to God, Vince McMahon probably personally gave Madcap Moss a book of jokes and was like, "This is some really funny stuff," and that's on the air every week.
Or gave him a bunch of, I'd like to believe he gave him a bunch of popsicles, like, you eat these popsicles, and at the end, you're going to see a stick with a joke, and you tell that joke.
That's like
I don't even know if we're in popsicle territory. I think this might be like Bazooka Gum Wrapper level jokes.
On an unrelated topic, do you know how many trivia games I won thanks to the Snapple caps, because I read them every single time? I know so many useless freaking facts.
That's awesome.
It's good though. It's good. The Viking Raiders got beat by Los Lotharios, who were just running through the tag division, and Rick Boogs was playing his guitar.
Oh yeah, and there was Shinsuke Nakamura, and he has something against his waist. What was that? Oh yeah, the Intercontinental Championship. Imagine that. I forgot.
Nice jewelry he was wearing there.
Yeah, that was fancy. Do you think that was a Gucci belt? Maybe her?
Oh, yeah.
Oh no, it was the IC title that they haven't done anything with forever.
Okay, well, they're simmering this feud with Jey Uso versus Xavier Woods tonight, and Kofi out there, Jimmy getting involved, and there being a DQ. So I don't know, at day one? No, we're not going to get it then. When are we going to get the New Day versus the Bloodline?
They are doing it at day one.
They are? I thought Roman was doing...
just a tag team. Yeah, it's not, you're talking about the sixth man.
Yeah, I'm talking about the sixth man.
The tag team title is happening. This is the New Day versus the Usos, part 156.
Hey, the 155
I don't mind.
good.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I don't mind. They put on great matches, but we were just talking about how they managed to kind of make Brock and Roman feel fresh. Where this, I knew where we were going the whole time. I'm like, okay, this is just gonna build for the New Day and the Usos, like whatever is next, So okay, fine. But I just wish they would come up with more creative ways to do it. And awesome, congratulations to Kofi Kingston. They just had a baby, and he's back from his paternity leave.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. So, and Xavier needs his crown back.
He does, or he needs to get another crown or a new drip, or you know what he should do? Take the Intercontinental title and make that into a crown. If they're not going to do anything with it, take that title.
What happened with Nakamura's crown? Nakamura relinquished his crown. Remember when they did King of the Ring? So let's find that crown for poor Xavier Woods. This was his childhood dream. He wanted to be King of the Ring, and you guys are just gonna not replace his crown?
I agree. And they still show him with the crown in the graphics when they show him wrestling somebody. He's got the crown on, so he needs another crown. You can't call yourself King Woods, walk out every week as a king with a scepter and no crown.
It's true.
No.
He should get different crowns or different hats to try and find a replacement. That should be like a running gag. Something. Anything.
He should braid his hair to look like a crown.
I
could see him do that. I could see him doing
that. Yeah, remember when he used to do his hair different for all the pay-per-views?
Yeah.
That was awesome. I always loved that.
We had a random Aaliyah spotting backstage with New Day.
She curtsied.
What's going on with Aaliyah, man? She gets called up. She was going to be on the Survivor Series team. Sonya Deville just must really have it in for her.
Yeah. Her, and then Shotzi disappeared off the face of the earth too, and it looked like she was in for a pretty big push. It's like you fight Charlotte Flair and then Sasha Banks, and it's like, hey, thanks for the memories. So hopefully she's back, because I was very excited for Shotzi.
Well, Charlotte Flair cutting a promo out there against Toni Storm. I mean, I like Toni Storm a lot. I'm not saying Toni Storm doesn't deserve this opportunity, but this is like whiplash compared to what they did with Toni Storm for the first few months she was there. Like, this just feels very abrupt, and I wish they'd given this more of an organic build.
But why? When you have pies being thrown at each other, that's all you need to build a good women's feud, no? Isn't it?
And
especially with two talented women like Charlotte Flair and Toni Storm, why not do that?
And they talked about those pies tonight like they were bullets in the Zapruder film. The way they kept talking about pie, 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 and then this pie and pie, pie, pie. Like, again, Vince McMahon thinks a pie in the face is probably the third funnier thing on earth, right behind pushing the swimming pool fully clothed, and Otis is the Cruiserweight champion. Third pie in the face.
Yeah, the segment was a mess. Like, after she was done talking, she was just waiting forever for some stagehand to come in and let her in. And then she's like, you could see Toni Storm, and she made eye contact with Toni, and then turned around because she wasn't supposed to see Toni coming. And it was just, the whole thing was a mess. And then for it to pay off with a pie to the face, I think people were confused in that because they were waiting for something to happen, but I don't think that was the something they wanted to happen. And just, for two talented women, you're absolutely right. It should not be this storyline.
And you have such a talented women's division. I'm sorry, Glenn. It's just, I was frustrated by this, especially when you have, like, you know, Charlotte's out there cutting one promo talking about the most decorated, you know, female superstar of all time, and that's what you're doing right now. It just doesn't. It's not it. This is not it for me. I would like to see the two of them wrestle, but not this. This build up is trash.
Yeah. Well, and it's crazy that, Charlotte, I don't accept your challenge. And I'm sure after the pie and the face, I accept your challenge. I'm going to teach you a lesson.
A baking lesson? They're going to put on aprons and start baking pies?
The Great British Baking Show. But she's not even British. She's Australian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it doesn't work.
I mean, they'll make it work. They'll make it work somehow. That's why they're going to have a bake-off. I don't know. Who bakes the best freaking pies or something.
But her gimmick is that her mom loved 80s music. Or loves 80s music. Present tense.
Do you think her mom baked her that pie? Maybe that's a tie-in.
I really want to be positive about this show.
There's nothing positive here. And also, side note, WWE social media should be very careful with the pictures that they tweet with women's and pies in the face. So embarrassing. And
what do you mean by that? So, do you mind expanding on that?
No.
I'm not touching this one, Issa. This topic's all for you.
Yeah, she put the visual in my head now.
I'm just saying they need to be very careful with the pictures that they tweet.
There are some accounts, I don't want to say the names of these accounts, but there are accounts that I guarantee you are going to like screenshot some of these and you're going to see it all over.
I already seen so many across my timeline. And I'm like, that's exactly why I'm saying it. I was like, why did my timeline went from, you know, wholesome to this all in a matter of 2 seconds?
So Cesaro took on Sheamus tonight.
Yes, finally.
Like it was 2016.
Yes, and he won the best of 7. Yeah. Remember, we didn't have a final winner the last match. So Cesaro is the winner so many years later. Talk about long-term storytelling.
Yeah.
This was a plan all along.
I'm sure they thought about it years ago and they were like, we're going to pay it off at the end of 2021.
Okay, well, speaking of payoffs, we did get Naomi and Sonya Deville tonight. And they're saying they're going to have a match next week. I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, I don't trust it.
Plus, but Sonya
slapped Naomi. That slap.
I know.
Yeah. Is there some kind of stipulation where Naomi, because I get that, all right, she's an official, so maybe she was worried for a job, but they haven't put anything in place where she can't touch Sonya Deville, have they?
I personally think that Naomi and Austin Theory need to get a lawyer because they both got slapped by their bosses this week, and they probably have a lawsuit in their hands.
Class action. We can get a class action lawsuit going here.
They both got the crap slapped out of them.
I agree. They really need to be suing these people.
There needs to be a good payoff to this. I mean, like, I feel like Naomi should get an entire episode of SmackDown where she just beats the crap out of Sonya.
Oh my God, from the beginning to the end, like you keep cutting and they're still brawling backstage. Oh, that would be so good. I don't think Sonya's fighting Naomi next week. I don't trust it. I think this might go all the way to maybe day one.
Yeah, and because it's like such a match that they've been building for a long time, for it to be announced in a backstage segment, even if they do pull off the match next week, it's like, wow, that's kind of deflating that you're just going to do it like this. I think the story that they're telling is Naomi is climbing all these obstacles to get to Sonya Deville. So I would like to see an angle in terms of her earning that, finally getting her hands on Sonya Deville, not just this backstage thing. But I don't trust it on TV.
Yeah, and Sonya Deville made it a very, very important point in saying, unless you see me wearing my gear, you can't touch me. Therefore, I have a feeling next week she's gonna forget her gear. Like it's gonna be something super stupid like that. But I think I personally think the storyline has been very good. So I would like to see a payoff at the pay-per-view.
Me too.
Yeah. I mean, this should be big. I feel like this is the biggest story in the women's division right now. One of the bigger stories in WWE as a whole.
Yeah, especially
it just needs to pay off the right way. It needs to pay off the right way. Otherwise, I'm going to be angry.
My fear, though, is like next week is going to result in another Naomi beatdown or another loss. And I think they've gone to that well a little too many times. And they really need to be telling the story at this point to where Naomi finally starts winning and earning her way into that title shot.
Yeah.
Or not title shot, you know what I mean. A shot at
Yeah. She won in her tag match with Sasha.
Yeah.
So
so that's good. Yeah, and that I want to see more of that. Yeah.
Right.
So no, I'm still very invested in this. And then Sami Zayn came out and cut a promo tonight. He hates Texas.
I mean,
this was such a good promo, and then to just have the segment end with like Brock beating him up, and then we're still going to do the match, and then Roman wins right away. Like, I mean, I'm glad Sami's getting the TV time, but I really actually would have liked to see a really good Roman Sami match.
No, but you know what?
I would have liked to see it.
I just want to say one thing before we talk about the main event. Is there was so many recaps of Survivor Series and Monday Night Raw, like very long video packages recap, and I wasn't into it. It really took me off the show, and maybe they're trying to get people to watch Raw because they show obviously the Edge stuff and all that. But it was just like you can just show all of that like limited to a small commercial. Like there was too many recaps of what happened at Raw and Survivor Series and this and that, and it just doesn't feel like your most viewed shows should be half of it wasted on video packages like that.
Yeah.
But yes, Sami promo was very, very good. Sami saying we don't deserve him, honestly.
Yeah, I agree.
This was really good. And I think, Brock beating up Sami, then leaving, like Brock not attacking Roman was very interesting.
Of course, because Brock wants to beat Roman for the Universal title, not Sami Zayn. Also, special shout out to Sami Zayn for still being laid out as Roman Reigns was making his entrance. What a... I was the iPod for that. I was like, is he still laying there? Yes, he was.
This is
because
crazy.
They went to a commercial, no?
Yeah.
They went to commercial and everything.
Yeah.
Why would they do that? Like, that's the worst tease I think I've ever seen in terms of it's like Sami Zayn got his ass beat. He was already an underdog, even if he was healthy, but now he just got suplexed to all holy hell by Brock Lesnar. And they're like, stay tuned. We still got a match coming up next. I think I know what's going to happen here. I don't think I need to stay tuned.
If there'd been more than like 2 minutes left in the show, I would have been like, maybe Sami's going to rally and overcome the odds and win.
Really?
Did any of you guys just couldn't help but to think what a waste of time the Battle Royal ended up being, even though I love the setup for what happened tonight, but it was just like, why couldn't we just like done something dumb that made Sami Zayn the number one contender? Like,
I bet you Sami demands another shot with Brock not there, and because it'll fill time. That'll fill a main event next week. Whenever they need to. So
I agree. I just thought it was funny. I was like, what was the whole point in that? I think it built some storylines. You have some storylines to go to because of who eliminated who and all that. But it's just funny because I felt last week I was watching it, I was like, why does this feel pointless? And it ended up being pointless, technically speaking. Those suplexes were brutal, and then the crowd chanting one more time, where you're supposed to be selling Sami Zayn being the ultimate underdog. No one cares. They just want to see Brock put on a show for them. The way Brock throws these grown men around like they weigh 5 pounds, it never ceases to amaze me. And then how fast he does it too. Like I said earlier, I think Brock is a once in a lifetime talent. It's really funny because I've always been a big Brock fan, always. And people always found it so weird. And for me now to see people loving him and cheering him on, I'm like, where were you guys all these other years when everybody hated him? What is happening?
Well, you know what was a high point tonight? Technically not part of the show. We did get that nice, 2-minute long trailer for John Cena's
Peacemaker.
Yeah.
It's gonna be dope.
Looks very funny. Looks very good.
HBO doesn't miss. So, HBO on a Sunday night, you're always going to have a good time. So I have no faith. I have no doubt this is going to be a good show.
HBO Max, a little more hit or miss.
Yeah, HBO Max, maybe, this new era, maybe more hit or miss.
Did you watch the Head of the Class reboot? That's kind of a miss.
Oh, really? Oh, that's sad to hear.
I mean, it's just a generic show. The original Head of Class, wasn't great. But like Saved by the Bell reboot, we finished that and again, more WWE references in that this season. But the Saved by the Bell reboot is like brilliant.
Wow.
Like in how it's very self-referential. Yeah.
I heard a couple of people say that too. So I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's very meta. The current storylines are good. I mean, I don't know. It's cable's in a weird time right now. It's like for every great show that there's a lot of stuff that would have been like the greatest thing on TV 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But it's just more competitive now, which is why Alfred, rewatching the Larry Sanders Show, you look at a show like that, how it holds up. It's just amazing. Yeah. That for that to be as good as it was back then, it's still fantastic now.
100%.
Yeah.
So, do we have the time on the Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns match?
What is this?
Did somebody time that? Anyone time it?
I will hope it was 10 seconds. I wanted it to be 5 seconds so he could beat The Rock's, record for WrestleMania, but okay.
Oh yeah.
He might have.
Yeah, we need 19. So somebody said 19 seconds. I need to figure out what the exact time was. I don't think it was 19 seconds. Maybe it was because he was, he had to put him to sleep. He didn't pin him,
So Rampage tonight. Pre-tape show, but we opened with I thought was a very good match of Sammy Guevara defending the TNT Championship against Tony Nese.
I agree. Good match.
Yeah, it was a great match. But do you think that if you're somebody that doesn't watch wrestling, hear me out, and you're flipping through the channels and you happen to see this match, wouldn't you think Tony Nese is the champion in this scenario just by looking at him first glance?
Wow. What makes you say that?
I thought he looked like $1 million, physique-wise, gear, and everything. Like, I thought they were going toe-to-toe the match itself. I'm just saying, if you're flicking, you don't watch wrestling, and you just look at these two guys, I felt that Nese has more of that it factor next to Sammy, right? But once you watch them wrestle, I think they were both going at it. But I'm just saying, if you're somebody that never watches and you're flicking, I would assume that Tony Nese is the champion just based on his presentation.
See, I think Tony Nese looks like the top guy from like 1989. Yeah. Like, I think he's got a more old school look. Whereas Sammy, I think for the current thing, Sammy's a very good looking kid. He's got that swagger. Like, I don't know, the way he carries himself, I think he's got a more magnetic personality.
Definitely. I mean, Tony Nese has like a Max McGee quality to him. Remember that match Bret Hart faced Tom McGee. Tom McGee. And everybody thought that Tom McGee was going to be this great star because of how he looked in the ring and he was shredded and whatnot. But at the end of the day, he did have all the physical tools. He just didn't have the it factor or whatnot and the charisma. And I do feel that way about Tony Nese in that he is an impressive looking guy. He's a great wrestler, very great athlete. That premier athlete thing is a shoot. But I mean, there's never been anything where Tony Nese has grabbed my attention and demanded that I watch something because it's interesting.
And which is what I mean, presentation-wise. I thought, like, when you look at their promo last week, when Sammy Guevara stepped up to him, he was like, you haven't done shit around here. I love that Sammy Guevara. I love Sammy's attitude. He looks like the kind of guy you want to have a drink with, which is awesome. And then you see him in the ring and you go, oh, I get it. But I think Tony Nese has something special. I just don't know what it is or how we maximize now that he's all elite, because Tony Khan did go on and tweet that they signed him. But I don't know, the charisma is his might not be his forte.
Yeah.
But this was a fun match.
I'm trying to remember when Enzo roasted the cruiserweights. What was his insult for Tony Nese?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, he had some bangers. I remember he made fun of Cedric Alexander's cruiser, like surfer. Was it the vest that he wore? A scuba jacket is what he called it.
Yeah.
But I don't remember what he said about Tony Nese.
Who was the one that he said, "You look homeless"? That's not even a joke. I'm just stating the facts.
Oh my God.
Was that Pac that he said? Is that Neville?
No,
I thought
it was
maybe
Brian
it was himself
Kendrick.
in the mirror.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
It might have
But
been.
that's my point about Tony Nese is that like I don't even know how I'd roast Tony Nese. Like there's nothing like he is an but I just don't know what his character is.
Yeah.
And his character can't be that he's really gifted in the ring, because if that's the case, that's like 90% of today's wrestlers.
Especially in AEW, right? Premier athlete is like, well, buddy, you join a whole roster that looks like you, so how are you going to stand out?
Yeah, characters. I'm a character guy. Like that's really what does it for me. And I think Sammy Guevara's got it. Tony Nese, I think, wrestles very well, but I don't know. But I'm hoping we haven't seen the best of what he can do, and that he gets to develop more in AEW. But yeah, this was a good match to start the show.
Yeah.
It was a good match, and I think Sammy's having a great TNT title run so far.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We had Thunder Rosa on commentary for the next match, which was Jade Cargill.
Thunder Rosa's so awesome.
Yes, this was great, and I like the confrontation after. I'm really looking forward to that match.
Oh my God, their brawl! It's just like I cannot wait to see them actually wrestle. I thought the brawl was great. I am a fan of them booking Jade Cargill to squash. I know a lot of people want to know, can she do more? Is she still green? No, that woman looks like she should squash everybody that steps in front of her. Like, why would you want her to put on a technical classic? You have women in this roster that can do the technical match. You don't have a lot of women that look like Jade Cargill. If I see her, I would expect her to be able to put these women out in a matter of seconds, minutes, So I think a lot of people wanting longer matches from her. I'm like, no, we don't have a lot of female characters that look like that are dominant, that just coming and squash. And you're seeing so many male characters that way. I think it's time to have one, in the female division. And I think Jade Cargill is it. I don't want to see a technical match from her. I want to see her just break these girls apart.
Absolutely. Probably the most physically impressive person if you just look at her. Like you're saying, if you're changing the channel and you look at her, just a physically imposing presence, that person should be destroying people. She should not be slapping on wrist holds and doing hurricane ranas.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, why would she? She shouldn't need to do that. And that's the thing. If you look at her, if I'm flipping channel, we were just using that example, I will wonder who the hell's going to come down that ramp and step up to her. I wouldn't, and that's what I want to see from her character.
Okay, so Jade versus Thunder in the semifinals. Who's advancing?
I don't know.
I think Jade. I love the fact that this Final Four is pretty unpredictable. I could see Thunder Rosa, Ruby Soho, or Jade Cargill winning this whole thing. Chris Statlander is a dark horse, but I could see 3 of these 4 women winning. But ever since it was announced, I said that's Jade Cargill's belt, and I like the idea of TBS, that bitch show. It's got to be Jade.
That is pretty good. That is pretty good.
Yes, I wish. Yeah, I wish we would have gotten here a little bit faster. I'm sorry, Glenn. It just feels like we knew it was going to come down to these 3. So this tournament just feel like it's dragged on because we knew it was going to be Ruby, Thunder, or Jade.
I do feel like this tournament has been going on for the better part of my 40s.
And we're not even seeing the finals for another month.
I know. And I think it's a fine line between building anticipation and having to maintain excitement. And right. I think it's like, I hate to harp on this, but I feel like that's the thing. I think AEW doesn't always put the women's feuds and matches front and center, and they're including it and they're progressing it. But I feel like to me watching this tournament, it feels like, we're going to get to the finals, but we're not in a rush. We got other stuff we got to work in.
Right.
Right. I don't know.
I feel like we are just now getting to the first match that I feel it could go either way. And this match, I'm very into Thunder and Jade. I think it's going to be amazing. But I don't know. It felt very weird. Or maybe they should have started it later if we weren't going to see the end game until January 5th.
Is it a pay-per-view January 5th or is that TV?
No, that's just the first TBS show.
Oh, that's right. Well, that makes sense. ratings will be big. I get it, but yeah, like maybe they started it a little too soon. So, and it's not Chris in the final four, according to Wikipedia. It's Nyla versus Ruby.
Nyla, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, Chris lost. Yeah, it was Nyla, yeah, and she's a dark horse.
Ruby versus Nyla should be a really interesting match.
Yeah, it's a great final four. It's like I like how unpredictable it is.
I still think I knew this was going to be the final four. Now, how it goes from here, this is when it gets interesting. And I get it. It filled up time on their shows up till now. Glenn, you really think they're going to do big ratings in TBS for the first show?
For the first one, yeah.
Okay. I don't know. It'll be tough. Changing stations, I think they're going to build it over time. They're going to come back to what they were doing on Dynamite. But changing stations, especially in wrestling, like wrestling fans are creatures of habit. They're used to TNT Wednesday nights. And I think it's going to be an uphill climb, at least for that first month. But
if AEW was doing 3 million viewers an episode, I would be like, oh, yeah. But as we've seen, like they could just run static for an AEW show, and it gets like
their hardcore,
pretty consistent amount. So I think what they're going to do, I mean, look, winter is coming. Maybe if Wyndham debuts there, maybe they set his first match for TBS. I think they're going to stack that. They're going to treat that like a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And I mean, their goal should be to try and get as close to 1 million or better if possible. You know, so I don't see them.
I mean, they have to, right? Last year they debuted a Sting and they had the world title change on Winter is Coming. So I feel like you set up high expectations for this year.
So I think if I hope that whoever does not win the title, I hope that we get some more serious competition for Britt out of this. And that we start getting more.
That's why I want Jay to win the TBS title, because I think Thunder Rosa is world title material, and she beat Britt Baker on that amazing lights out match. So, and it doesn't count for the record, but that's still there. I can see why they would put Thunder Rosa over here just to stretch it out, because they don't have another pay-per-view for so long. But I can see Thunder Rosa right now is the only person, unless they sign somebody from the free agency, that I will say, if you're having her feud with Britt has a chance of losing.
Yeah. And I think they're telling that long-term story because, you know, Britt won't even say her name. And they're saying this story where she's like ducking Thunder Rosa.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. Here's good. Is there even a free agent now? I mean,
Ember Moon?
But you think they put up against to go toe-to-toe with Britt, though?
You mean just like out of nowhere, like what they're doing pretty much with Tony Nese, where they bring somebody in for a...
I mean, it seemed like that's what they tried to do with Ruby Soho, and then they just dropped that really quick.
Right.
You know?
They really do need to build that division because they have a lot of talent, but not a lot of stars. Like WWE has so many women who can main event any pay-per-view at the level of the men. They've got Becky Lynch and Bayley, and when she comes back, and Sasha Banks, and all these big stars. And AEW has Britt Baker and like the Seven Dwarfs. And there's a lot of like really talented women on that roster.
No, and like Glenn said happened to Shotzi earlier. You know how you said, okay, you wrestle Sasha, you wrestle Charlotte, and then you're bye-bye, we'll see you later. That's how it feels in AEW, right? Where you like build somebody up like a Red Velvet. I thought her feud going with Britt Baker was really hot, and then they just completely dropped her after that. So it's just like you build them. Tay Conti is back to what? Elevation? You know what I mean? And it's like you build them, you get us to believe they could actually beat them. And I thought Tay Conti had a great showing against Britt Baker, and now we haven't seen her since Full Gear. So...
Yeah. And it's tough because I think I would be very happy with Thunder Rosa or Jade Cargill ended up the TBS champion. But I think both of them, you know, in addition to being very talented performers, also have larger than life looks that I think attracts attention. And that's what gets people to tune in. And I think that the more they can do to push strong personalities and strong characters, I mean, I think the more successful it's going to make the women's division and AEW over as a whole.
Yeah.
So we shall see. So after this and after that fight afterwards, what do you think of the promo with Adam Cole and the Bucks at the Best Friends in Orange Cassidy?
That was fun. That was really funny. Especially with Brandon.
I love at the end, like press the red button, you stupid. It's funny though, because I was with Nick today on WINC Daily, and we were watching the Briscoes promo to FTR. I don't know if you guys saw it on Twitter, but Oh my god, if these guys come in and cut a promo against the Young Bucks, they're gonna like poop their pants because like you look at the way these guys cut promos compared to what the Elite does, and it's just like I want to see the Briscoes and freaking Santana and Ortiz cut promos on each other now. That would be fun.
The Briscoes have an intensity about them that is just, I don't know how to put this. It's like, it's more legitimate than any other tag team, even the Usos, because the Usos, we know, like the Usos have like used humor a fair amount.
But the Usos are a PG version of what the Briscoes are doing.
Yeah, the Briscoes are intense, man.
I mean, one of them was in the background drinking a Capri Sun the entire promo, and it was still scary. How do you do that? Because
he's gonna pierce his opponent like he did that pouch to
right.
Squeeze out the sweet juice.
Oh my god, Glenn.
Capri Suns, man, that stuff, and then you poke it, and sometimes the like liquid just shoots everywhere.
Yeah, you gotta hit it the right way.
This is why I can never catheterize someone, you know? Just be afraid. Be like,
catheterize.
Oh man.
Anyhow, so are the Briscoes coming to AEW? Is that?
It's not like Science Seal Deliver, but you know,
I mean,
they're candidates.
Happen, right?
The tag team division could use the Briscoes. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it would, and they were. I mean, there was reports that were seen backstage recently, but I mean, that doesn't confirm anything.
Yeah, I don't see WWE pursuing them. I don't think.
No, I mean the Briscoes were actually on their way to WWE at some point. You talk about how real they are, and then they started like tweeting some crazy stuff, and then WWE was like, "Okay, we're not gonna mess with this. These guys aren't for us."
Yeah,
forgot about that. You're right. I forgot about that.
When was that?
A year. I want to say like 2010, maybe even earlier than that.
Oh wow, that long.
2008. Yeah.
Wow, the early days of Twitter.
Yeah.
What'd you think about the Eddie Kingston promo, Issa?
I love everything Eddie Kingston does. I love that he said you guys beat up Jericho. Well, I don't care about that. I was like, great. I was gonna say, why would Eddie Kingston defend Chris Jericho? Like, it doesn't make any sense, right? I thought it was a good promo. I mean, Eddie Kingston can cut a promo on a freaking broom. Like, it doesn't matter. You just let him talk, and he's gonna do great stuff. So, of course, another great promo by Eddie Kingston. What's new?
Yeah, I loved it. That was great.
And then Bryan Danielson calling out John Silver ahead of their match
in Long Island. On Long Island.
I love this version of Bryan so much.
He's having a really good time. You know, you can really
tell. Ever since he joined the Illuminati, he's a different guy.
God, it's weird. It feels like the first half of this episode went by so quickly, and that's because we had a really lengthy main event. The FTR with Tully Blanchard versus Pac and Penta. Alfred, what'd you think of this match?
I thought it was a good match. The whole thing that they're doing with removing the mask, they got to put a moratorium on that because it's really like a heat-seeking spot. It's this blasphemous thing that you don't do. And the first couple of times they did it, it was like, wow, you know, and they got a lot of heat. And it still did get heat here, but it's just becoming one of those things that they do too much. I like the story they were telling with Pac with the eye where he actually legitimately botched like a hip top, and they blamed it on the eye. And then later on, he slipped on the rope, but he was kind of did that on purpose to sell his eye. So I like that they were doing that. And now is he going to wear 2 patches now that he got his eye blinded again in the other eye? So that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I thought this was a fun match. Of course it was. Look at the competitors that were, you know, being part of it. I think I really want AEW to do something different with their production when it comes to that spot, because it feels like they do it on every show where somebody dives on the outside and the camera always catch the other guys just waiting there to catch the person. Yeah. There has to be a different camera angle for that, especially if you're going to do it as often as they do it, because I see it multiple times per show. And while it is impressive, the camera angle that they choose to shoot it from, it just makes it look so... It doesn't look good. You're just seeing everybody else waiting to catch the person diving, right? Outside of that, really, really curious about what they're going to do with Black and Pac here with the eye. Like, and that whole ending was so weird, and he had the blood in his face and his hand and all that. I mean, we'll see where it goes. It was a very long match for. I guess I wasn't expecting it to get as much time since it was supposed to be a rematch, but there was travel issues, I believe with the Lucha Bros, so they put in Pac. So I thought it was going to be a little bit shorter, but I'm not going to complain. It was great.
Black and Pac, former tag
Black
team
and Pac
called Black Pac.
Look.
And they can wear black backpacks in the ring. That'd be fun. They could do that.
And go against the best friends. It'd be awesome, right?
Oh no.
But Black gouged out Pac's eye at the end of this.
Do you think Pac is gonna start having like his whole face black now? Like, do you think that's gonna be like contagious and everybody that he spits on has the same issue?
I could see that.
Perhaps.
Definitely.
I mean, this was a good main event, but yeah, it's like I don't know that Rampage is the show to do half-hour main events on.
Yeah, especially one like this where it's like a tag team main event, so it's not really illustrious in terms of star power. Like, you know, the FTR's the big stars and stuff like that, but this isn't like the type of match I don't think that's going to get people to watch.
Michael the Virus saying blindfold match, Pac and Black.
Please don't. I don't want to see any blindfold matches in wrestling. Very rarely do I see one really work out.
Or they both have eye patches, but they're on their dominant eyes, so their depth perception is all messed up.
There you go.
Like, just keep everything like misses by like 6 inches. You know?
How about a blindfold flaming table match? Sorry.
Yes, Joseph Boza saying you could have done this match in 15 and still got here.
I agree.
Yeah. I think when you have the J match and it was a squash, they should have planned differently, because the opening match felt lengthy and then this one felt lengthy and then you had a squash in the middle, and it just like the show didn't pace as nicely as Rampage usually pace. I always say Rampage is an easy show to digest. This one didn't feel that way. There was something about the pacing on tonight's Rampage that was a little bit off for me.
Yeah, it was a solid show, but again, like being pre-taped, and you know, if there was any like amazing spoiler, like or surprise, we would have known about it ahead of time. I don't know. But winter's coming. It's going to be a big deal in a few weeks.
Wangman versus Brian.
Wangman, yeah.
I can't.
I thought I was the only one who noticed that. It was like,
oh no! Like as soon as I saw it, I was like, "That's all I see." Wangman. Oh my god! I don't know who made that graphic, but it says Wangman. I don't care what they want to say.
They did change it. They did update the H to look more like an H. I did notice.
Well, that's good.
Nope.
You can't.
Nope. I will not.
The damage has been done.
Yeah, I can't unsee it.
Wow. Joseph Boza in the chat saying he doesn't think Rampage is live again until January 21st.
Wow.
Oh. So they're gonna tape the Rampage. Yeah, I guess it doesn't matter. They're just switching networks. You can still tape it when you do the TBS shows, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We'll see. So that was wrestling tonight. I was going to say, what do we have going on this weekend? But Sunday. We're back together for NXT War Games.
The three best friends that anybody could have.
Old school versus new school.
Who you got? Who are you rooting for, Alfred?
Definitely 2.0. I mean, yeah, 2.0.
Tony D'Angelo. I want Tony D'Angelo to beat up everyone.
100%.
Yeah,
take the title belt, walk out of there.
Oh, you know what? I was watching. Okay, I'm sorry, but this is gonna shock you guys. But I was playing a clip of Tony D'Angelo on my YouTube channel, right? And it was when he was on Lash Legend. And do you remember how he sat down and he cut a promo after he got the producer out of there?
Yes.
Yeah.
In that promo, he mentioned everybody that's in the War Games team for the old school.
That's right.
So he's been promoting this.
Long-term storytelling by the GOAT. That's why he's the GOAT.
I mean, he's so good. So good. The best.
That's awesome.
I was just freaked out because I was Googling Joe Gacy, who is from New Jersey, where I have a lot of family from. And his birth last name is Ruby, which is the Americanized, anglicized shortening of Rubenstein. So mine.
You guys are related.
Look at
Maybe
that.
people say that you look like him, right?
Oh, Jesus. Wait, what have I done wrong that I've gone from fat Finn Balor to I look like Joe Gacy? I need to start working out. You know? I gotta get back to fat Finn Balor level.
Handsome Joe
I
Gacy.
think people pointed out you are definitely a much handsome version than Joe Gacy.
Well,
but you guys might be related. You might want to look into this.
It's true. So I'm gonna live with that tonight, and go watch. Yeah, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. He'll be good. You know, make do. I'll get by. Yeah. So we'll be back Sunday. Everybody have a good weekend. Enjoy tomorrow, a day without wrestling. Think of that. And we'll see you back here next time on the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Take care.